Okay, we're back on the Snow Champ, and I want to clean the carburetor. I took off the shroud, only had 4 screws on it, which came off pretty easy, and I popped off the choke knob and drained the bowl. And now we're looking at the bowl. Yeah, a little dirty, huh? Surprising that it ran as well as it did. So I'll clean that out. I'm gonna drop. Get the camera down here. We're going to pop off the float and clean the needle valve and put it back together, and hopefully that'll do it. I won't have to go any further than that, because I hate popping them off and having to rip a gasket or something like that. Also want to replace the gas lines on this and change the oil, hopefully, but I got to go out and get oil and gas line today, so might happen today, might not. So in order to get this float out, we got to remove that pin right there. I got to get a little lube on it. So that pin is pretty frozen, and look at it, that float won't even move, so that's why it was leaking. It's got to move up in order to shut the valve off. I'm going to soak it down with the oil for a little bit, see if I can loosen it up. Otherwise, if you tap those things too hard, you can break the post, and then you're in real trouble. I like to use a Q-tip to put up where the float valve is, to clean that area out. Up and, let's see if I can say, right up in there. Like cleaning your ears. Ooh, that feels good. Okay. Wipe that up a little bit. Throw it back together, and we'll see how it goes. There we go. That's much better. See how slow we can get it. Okay, I changed the oil, and I want to get this tire so it'll hold air. I pushed on it and I exposed the bead, and the bead has some rust on it, so I'm trying to clean it with a wire brush, because I pulled the pin, you'll see, this pin out of the wheel, which was a effort in itself, but now the wheel's not coming off the axle. So instead of doing a lot of pounding, I'm going to try to just, like I said, get that rust off the bead and see if it'll make a better seal. Okay. Alright, I got a ratchet strap on the tire, so I can hopefully get the beads to catch again. I don't have it tight right now, but I'm going to get it tight. But first I want to squirt some slimy slime down here so the bead might seal it a little bit better, might be able to close a little better with a little bit of lube on it. I guess we'll have to find out. Okay, hang on. All we got with the slime was a mess, pretty much, and I'm not squishing the tire enough to get both beads expanded. No, I'm not going to light it on fire either, so I got to think about what's going on. Well, I couldn't tell before with all the rust, but there's a C-clip on the axle. So there was so much rust, and see all that crud? You gotta really brush that away to get any kind of lube in there at all. Otherwise it just doesn't penetrate. So we're gonna try that and see if we can get the wheel off again. Well, I just had lunch and came out, and no luck with the tire. It is really cracked. I might have to get a tube for it. I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to get back on the carburetor again and see if I can clean it a little better. This is really the problem. The pin is so cruddy. I have another one I can use, obviously, with all those parts, but I'm going to take a little sandpaper and see if I can get it smooth. See? Crud. Well, I took another float and another pin from one of those mini carburetors that I have, and I might as well use this. It looks much better. It's been patched once, you can see, but it's pretty clean. Looks a lot less mangled. Switched out the bowl. I think the drain on it may have been leaking, and doing good. Tire might be holding, might not, I can't really tell. Alright, come a long way. I think that tire's even holding now. Maybe. Okay. Let's pull this off and see what kind of squirrel's nests are in here. Do we have one more? Yeah, we got one more bolt. So what do we have here? Nothing looks too bad. Bushings look good. The chains are some good oil on them. Ah, that's the disc right here. Now when I was just trying to run it and move it, it seemed like first gear wasn't really happening, but everything else was. That's sometimes an adjustment, because the closer you get to the center there, you basically don't move when it's in the center. The further you come out here, the faster the disc spins and reverses when it comes over on this side. And this disc, well, it looks easy to change, which is amazing. The Ariens aren't like this. Well, I kind of like this machine. The disc has some divots in it, I think from hitting the center nut. So it's out of adjustment. So I'm going to see if I can figure out how to adjust it. Just put some lights in here. Alright, see if you can see in there. And I will move the shifter. I can do both things at once. And you can see how it moves in relation to the disc. I hope you can. So what I need to do is adjust it so when it's in one, it's further out here. Sorry. It's another tripod, right? Okay. So one is like this instead of like this. I don't think that's too hard to do. Okay, there's a pin up here, which is at the top of the machine, that you pull out, and then you can pop this shaft out here. And this shaft comes down into this nut, and what you want to do is you want to tighten it up. See how the rod's threaded? Pretty goobery, but it's threaded. You can move it so that the disc moves in a direction that you want. What I explained before was actually the opposite direction. It moving this way is forward, this way is reverse. So the rod is out. I broke the clip, but I got another one. And now I got to determine how many turns I got to go on with this. Oh, it's loose as a goose. Never thought that. That's good. So we'll just get it so it's just beyond that nut there in first gear. Okay, now we're in first, and you can see I'm missing the nut. Let's go to fifth gear. We're way out by the edge. Now let's go to reverse. Now we're in reverse, and you can see we've also cleared the nut, and it should be a little faster than it was. Hopefully not too fast, but we'll check it out. Okay, so now I want to replace the gas line. I'll show you a little trick that I learned from somebody else online on how to thread it through. I'm going to pop this side off and then I'll show you. What I do is I cut off the head of the bolt, thread it in there, and thread the other piece on there so that you can pull it right through. Get me? Par for the course. It got held up on something and popped off, so I got to pull the shroud off. We got it through. A little struggle. It hits the metal right there, and you got to just kind of push it down with your finger, and then it'll go through. But this gas hose is thicker than the old hose was, so it made it a little tougher. So now over here, you can cut it to length. I'm going to cut a new piece for this too, for the valve.